All right, I got the thumbs up. Hello and good afternoon, everybody. Thank you and welcome to Valdosta State University's 13th annual Graduate Student Research and Scholarship Symposium. Yes, thank you, Danielle. I'm Dr. David Nelson, this afternoon's Master of Ceremonies. I work over in the Communication Arts Department, and I'm also the Graduate Coordinator. So today we're all going to get to witness just everybody's hard work over the past year or so, and in research and scholarship by our graduate students, or as I like to refer to them, young scholars. And in the symposium is going to be filled not only with that, but musical performances. We've got some keynote speakers from alums from the Master of Social Work program. We've got a 3-minute thesis competition, poster presentations, and of course, awards. So this event we hope, the goal is to get it done around approximately 6 o'clock. So thank you everybody for joining us. This is just in light of what's been happening in the light year, this is just a really cool way to celebrate your hard works and your efforts for you young scholars out there and your work with the 3MTs, the performances, and again, the scholarship out there. So give yourself a moment and a round of applause for that. And it's always exciting to see this, to get out of the comm arts world, communication arts world, and see what other people are doing around campus. So that's also exciting for me as a faculty member here. Though, please do note that you won't hear sound because we're going to transition in and out while we go into these breakout sessions for the poster sessions during the symposium. So also, audience, your microphones are going to be disabled during the symposium to avoid any interruptions to the presenters. If you need any help during the time, if you haven't heard already, Ms. Danielle Costello will be happy to assist you, and you can message her separately by finding her list in the attendees under the moderator section. So click the circle with the 3 dots right next to her name and then select the chat option. With that being said, I believe we are moving on to the first aspect of today's all the celebratory things going on, and that's going to be the Graduate Student of the Year slide. And with that, I introduce Sage Harris and Dr. Becky DeCruz to talk about this.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, we're going to get things started with our Graduate Assistant of the Year ceremony. My name is Sage Harris, the Graduate Student Services Coordinator, and we're very happy to have you. This ceremony is just a small way for us to honor and thank graduate assistants across campus for all of their exemplary work. Truly, this campus could not run without you, and we are incredibly thankful for your service to Valdosta State University. With that said, I'd like to hand things over to Dr. Becky DeCruz, our Associate Provost of Graduate Studies and Research.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, graduate assistants, faculty, staff, administration. This year, more than most, we have occasion to recognize our graduate assistants. We've always known that our graduate assistants are critical in fulfilling the mission of the university. This past year, our more than 270 GAs demonstrated their dedication to carry on the work of the university with the utmost professionalism, even during a pandemic. In a few moments, you will hear about those graduate assistants who have stood out among their peers over the course of this past year. In fact, we have had a record number of GAs nominated for this honor this year as a result of the grit they have shown. 20 graduate assistants have been nominated. We are proud of the work of all of our graduate assistants and glad to have this occasion to celebrate our most outstanding. But before we get to that, Justin Sanchez, who is the president of the Association of Graduate Students and happens to be a graduate assistant himself, has a few remarks to share. Justin, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone, and thank you to Dr. Cruz and Sage for inviting me to speak today. I'm honored to be here with you all as we get ready to honor and celebrate the hard work that all of our graduate students have done over this past year, as Dr. DeCruz was mentioning. We all know, as was mentioned earlier, that this was not an easy year, especially navigating the obvious pandemic, but also finding ways to virtually and socially distance ourselves while also conducting research, teaching classes, and serving our students through the different areas we work in. But amongst all of that, We are here. We have persevered. We have overcome everything that was thrown our way, so be proud of yourself for that. Thankfully this year, as Dr. DeCruz mentioned, I've had the opportunity to serve as our Association of Graduate Students president, working closely with the graduate school to voice the concerns relayed to me and to also advocate on the behalf of the graduate students. I've been able to serve on not only the Graduate Executive Committee, but also the newly initiated Graduate Student Orientation Task Force and the already established Graduate Student Success Committee, where I've spoken about the issues and concerns you all as the graduate students have about your programs, advising, adjusting to Valdosta, and more. I'm very hopeful, especially through the conversations that we've gotten to have, that with the next few years, we'll see new initiatives formed to better meet the needs of our graduate students and to better serve our graduate student population. Shamelessly, this is where I also plug AGS, Association of Graduate Students, and if you want to help with these new initiatives or meet new graduate students, please come and join us at our next meeting on April 19th at 6 p.m. Those details and the links can be found on BlazerLink as well as through email. That'll be sent out early next week. But lastly, I just want to say congratulations. We did it. We made it. We're here now, celebrating you all as graduate students. Your dedication, hard work, perseverance, and time are being recognized. Soak this up. Take this in. You deserve this. I leave this with the wise words from one of my all-time favorites, Dora the Explorer. We did it! Yay! So thank you all again. I'm very appreciative again for this opportunity to speak and to be able to kind of share this experience with recognizing all of the amazing work that you all have done. So thank you all again for your time. I'm now going to hand it back over to Sage.
Thank you, Justin. And now for our reading of the nominees. First up, Abigail Van Houten. Abigail is an administrative assistant who works for COEHS Advising Center and was nominated by Ashley Stevens. Reportedly, Abigail has an incredible work ethic and ability to be a team player and desire to work as a group to solve problems. Avery Berry. Avery, nominated by Elaine Darity, works for Campus Recreation Membership Services. She's often contacted by student workers while she is off and is always quick to respond and help out or resolve the issue. She's had to come up to the rec center to work on her days off, to cover shifts if someone else doesn't show up, including working early morning 6 a.m. shifts. Bria Thomas. Bria works in Greek life under Madison Beaumarchais. Reportedly, her level of organization is unmatched. Each Monday, without fail or need for a reminder, Bria communicates with the 2 councils she oversees and reminds them of that week's activities or deadlines. Her level of reliability is a great comfort to her supervisor and the students she serves. China Dowdy. China works in the Human Services Department and was nominated by Dr. Martha Laughlin. China is honest, dependable, and double-checks her work to ensure they are completed correctly and promptly. For example, part of her GA duties requires her to handle files that include confidential and private information. She has always displayed dedication to protecting the confidential nature of these files by not discussing them or sharing them with others. Emily Eversman. Emily is an administrative assistant in the counseling center and was nominated by her supervisor, Heidi O'Connor. Emily's office interactions are highly professional in nature. One could even easily mistake her for a member of the professional staff. Although quiet in tone, her demeanor is one of steadfast determination. She speaks professionally in all aspects of her job and with confidence indicative of a highly qualified individual. Hannah Fisher. Hannah works for the Campus Recreation Department and was nominated by Davy Shaw. She assists with recruiting, hiring, training, supervising, evaluating, and scheduling 40-plus staff for multiple program areas, among numerous other responsibilities. Hannah goes above and beyond to make sure tasks are completed in a timely manner. She creates detailed timelines for all events and makes sure everyone is well informed of what is going on and what they need to do. Jacob Wood. Jacob is a teaching assistant with the music department and was nominated by Dr. Bebe Lin. Jacob assists with coaching trumpet and brass ensembles when Dr. Brabham requires a substitute. Jacob is a model of dependability and trustworthiness. Not only can he always be counted on to fill in the gap when needed, he's prepared. He can be relied upon to diligently study the musical scores beforehand and to lead rehearsals with professional efficiency and insight. When performing as part of university ensembles, Jacob consistently plays at the highest musical level. Jessica Joins. Jessica is an administrative assistant with the graduate school and was nominated by her supervisor, Jessica Powers. She's punctual and professional. She arrives at the office each day and immediately starts on any task before her without having to be prompted. Jessica embodies an "I got this" manner and does not give up when faced with difficulty in completing an assignment or difficulty in helping a student. People even call the graduate school and ask to speak directly with her because of the experience they've had with her in the past. She is seen as being upbeat, knowledgeable, timely, and provides excellent customer service to members of the campus. John Zapata Lopez. John is a GA with career strategies and was nominated by Carla Gervin. He provides students assistance with resumes, cover letters, mock interviews, and helps with searching for jobs and internships. John understands the importance of the work that the Career Strategy Center does and goes above and beyond to help serve their students. Caitlin Hunt. Caitlin is an administrative assistant with Honors College and was nominated by Dr. Michael Savoy. Caitlin oversees the honors stipend and experiential learning programs. This includes coordinating student communications and reviewing service experiential contracts. Caitlin works above and beyond normal expectations. She was always prompt, punctual, and stays late on needed occasions. Kara Smith. Kara works with COEHS Advising Center. She has a great understanding of higher education and the role of academic advising. Kara is very detail-oriented and has a great eye for identifying areas of improvement in their processes, plans, and general workflow. Lauren Corley. Lauren is an administrative assistant for campus recreation and was nominated by Elaine Darity. She is very responsive to marketing requests and is self-motivated to complete all of her work with 100% accuracy. She doesn't need supervision to complete tasks or to meet strict deadlines, as she is not a procrastinator and does a great job getting out all of their information. In staff meetings, she keeps up with all happenings so she will know of upcoming events and deadlines to meet. Michaela Cummings. Michaela is a graduate assistant with COEHX Advising Center and was nominated by Dr. Laura Hanna. Michaela is always reliable and does her job quickly and with accuracy and depth. She is great at her job and has the ability to take care of students' needs with precision, care, and trustworthiness. Miracle Jackson. Miracle is an administrative assistant with COEHX Advising Center. In her work as a GA, Miracle has proven to be industrious, conscientious, forward-thinking, and mature beyond her years. She's adaptive, creative, and hardworking. Ryan Campen. Ryan is a housing assistant with Housing and Residence Life. Aside from creating the Georgia Grows program, he also served on diversity and inclusion institutional committees, divisional committees, and departmental committees. Because of him, Georgia Hall has been set a new bar, one that will be hard to fulfill. Shelby Beckett. Shelby is an administrative assistant with Babies Can't Wait and was nominated by Dr. Corinne Myers-Jennings. Her work was excellent and very detail-oriented. Record keeping was diligent, accurate, complete, and done in a timely manner. Shelby created a new avenue for data to be kept on a large pool of people. She demonstrated a high skill level that was needed for her to function alone in many instances. While alone, she was very productive and never left a job undone. Tinley Kiger. Tinley is a graduate assistant with the College of Nursing and Health Sciences Advising Center. One of her first projects that she worked on are the FAQs on their website for students to view. After realizing that they were getting an extremely high volume of calls that were showing to be the same question, she took it upon herself to start creating the sheet that eventually made its way onto their website. And now to introduce our second runner-up. Our second runner-up is Justin Sanchez. Justin is a housing assistant with Housing and Residence Life and was nominated by Amanda Thompson. Justin provides superior quality of work. In his residence hall, he manages all of his varying and high-demand responsibilities with ease. He is diligent in his work and never misses any detail. And next up, our first runner-up, we'd like to congratulate Scott Myers. Scott is an administrative assistant with the Academic Support Center and was nominated by Dr. Terrence Sullivan. Scott assists in supervising and managing the Peer Alliance, or PAL allies, formerly known as peer tutors, and facilitators, formerly known as supplemental instruction leaders, within the ASC under direction of the assistant director. Scott is developing a legacy of extreme professionalism and commitment that will be felt long after his graduation from GSU. And finally, we would like to honor our GA of the Year, Ms. Catherine Yara. Catherine is a teaching assistant with the music department and was nominated by Dr. Bebe Lim. As a class leader for South Georgia String Project, Catherine Yara is the head teacher who oversees lesson planning, monitors undergraduate student teachers, and creates an overarching pedagogical plan for each semester. Catherine is dependable and organized, and the undergraduate teachers who work under her supervision benefit from her professionalism and reliability. Catherine has enriched the musical life of the music department as well as the greater Valdosta community. Let's hear it for our G of the Year, Catherine Yara. I'm going to
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
We can, thank you.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my honor to speak to you about Catherine today. Catherine Yara has been an integral part of the musical life in Valdosta during her time here. Her GA duties have included assisting with a prospective supersections class, teaching in the South Georgia String Project, performing in the opera orchestra, and assisting with the Valdosta Symphony library duties. Dr. Farwell, head of the Department of Music, describes Catherine as a shining star and a wonderful example to our students. She has led by example with passion and dedication in all areas. Dr. Yu, assistant professor of viola, says, Catherine has been a tremendous asset as a teacher in the South Georgia String Project and as my head graduate assistant for the super section, Music and Film. When SGSP pivoted to online delivery, Catherine jumped to help Dr. Pfeiffer Yu and I in making weekly tutorial videos. Her work ethic and organization have been essential in the successes of SGSP and Music and Film, and I cannot thank her enough. Catherine tackles every job with the same total commitment that permeates her musical performances. She invests her intellect, creativity, intuition, and whole being into each task. She completes projects with joy, grace, and excellence. In assisting the perspectives class, she streamlined the grading process for other GAs. In teaching in the SGSP, Catherine shared a part of her culture with young students in Valdosta by arranging folk tunes from South America and her native country of Colombia for them to learn. As a concertmaster for the opera orchestra, she performs at a professional level for our opera productions. We are so happy that her quiet, thoughtful, and impactful contributions to our department and community are being recognized. Congratulations, Catherine. Thank you for being part of our lives here at VSU. Now back to Dr. De Cruz.
Hi, everyone. I think I got my camera working this time. I just want to say a few words on the next portion of our recognition here. And I am pleased to have the opportunity to express our appreciation to a faculty member who has been such an instrumental part of graduate student success. This year, the recipient of the Friend of the Graduate School recognition is Dr. Maren Clegg-Heyer. Dr. Clegg-Heyer is a professor in the English department and the graduate program coordinator. She has served on the Graduate Executive Committee for 6 years, advises between 35 to 45 English Master of Arts students, and has led the effort in our dissertation dive-in program. This program is where 2 or 3 faculty members work with doctoral students across campus to help them progress through the very taxing dissertation writing process and to shorten the length of time it takes to finish their dissertation and to graduate. What is so impressive is that the English department does not offer a doctorate degree. Dr. Clegg-Heyer assists students in other programs to succeed out of the pure love of writing and helping students. Dr. Clegg-Heyer, thank you for your dedication to our mission in the graduate school. That is to support all of our graduate students, regardless if they are in your program or not. Please help me to congratulate Dr. Clegg-Heyer. Thank you. Sage, back to you.
Sage, you got to turn your mic
I
on.
think you're muted.
Sage, you're still muted right now. While Sage is working out his technical things, I want to jump in here, and I think there's a lot of people behind the scenes to help make this happen with everything going on. So I would like to, I think we should show a virtual round of applause for Ernest Smith, Sage Harris, Dr. Cruz, and Danielle Costello for help all making this happen. There was a lot of work, and if you've not been behind the scenes as grad students, as you move into these positions and if you move into the academic life, you will see how the sausage is made. And to make things like this go as smoothly as possible, there's a lot of work behind that. And I need to thank them for helping me along the way and answering a lot of my questions. So thank you so much to those people. And if I forgot somebody, I do apologize so much. So Sage, did you get your mic working? All right.
I can just jump in there. He was just going to have some closing remarks, unless he's back. But Sage was just going to mention that, we thank everyone for joining us in the celebration of our graduate assistants. It's an honor to work alongside our graduate assistants. They are a huge part of the university and a huge part of accomplishing our mission as a university. And we just want to give another shout out to Catherine Yara and Dr. Clegg-Heyer. Thank you all.
Well, all right. Exciting times here with everything. So thank you again. And we can't thank you enough from the service from our faculty, the graduate faculty, due to all the work to help these young scholars get to where they're going. But we don't go away yet, everybody. We've got a lot to going up in here. And as we're going to transition to, before we transition to the research symposium aspect of everything, we have a musical performance by Jacob Wood on trumpet and Caitlin Moore on piano, and then we'll be playing Amazing Grace for trumpet and piano, arranged by Kevin McKee. So please enjoy this little interlude before we start getting into the 3 minutes thesis section. I want to thank Jacob and Caitlin for bringing that to for putting that performance together. It was great. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did. So as we move on here, I have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Robert Smith, Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs. Dr. Smith is a prolific scholar in his own right, has published several calculus textbooks, and we appreciate Dr. Smith to set aside the time in his busy schedule to spend some time celebrating with us and seeing this great scholarship and this great work. So with that being said, thank you, Dr. Smith, for coming by this afternoon.
Thank you, David. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of President Carvajal and the Valdosta State University faculty and administration, it is truly a pleasure to welcome you all to this afternoon's Graduate Research Symposium. Scholarship and creative works are at the very heart of graduate study and represent the culmination of many months of hard work and determination. As Provost, it's my pleasure to lead VSU's outstanding faculty. And speaking on behalf of the faculty, I want to congratulate every one of the graduate students who are participating in this symposium. This event is an important opportunity for you to publicly showcase the incredible work that you have done. You have much to be proud of, but please keep in mind that while this may mark the conclusion of your degree programs, it should not be the end of your scholarship. You have demonstrated your creativity and learned how to answer a question to which no one knows the answer, showing with clarity that you're an expert in your field. Indeed, we look forward to much from you in the years to come. I especially want to recognize our graduate faculty for going the extra mile in the middle of a pandemic, no less, to inspire and mentor our graduate students in their efforts. So congratulations to you all. The entire Blazer Nation is incredibly proud of you.
All right, there I am, and here I go. Thanks a lot, I want to call him Bob, Dr. Smith. Dr. Smith, for taking time out. Again, we know your hectic, busy schedule in there, and enjoy us and celebrating these great works of research and performance and just everything all together. So to kick off the symposium, we invited a couple of our alumni from the Master's Social Work program to speak about how their research, and they've conducted at the graduate level, which I know sometimes is hard to believe, all this work you put into it, you can't see the forest for the trees, how it has influenced their careers. So please welcome VSU alum Beth Herbert, Paige Murphy, and Sarah Chambers, who now want to share their research experience during the COVID on the topic of dialysis of social work.
Today, I, Beth Hebert, and fellow VSU alumni Paige Murphy and Sarah Chambers will be sharing about our experience completing research before and during COVID with VSU professors Dr. Holloman and Dr. Downing. We three were meeting with Dr. Holloman at Valdosta State for supervision hours for our clinical license. In conversation, we found we shared similar experience being dialysis social workers, although we were in different cities and were working for different companies. Dr. Holloman had recently co-authored a book about healthcare social work and knew there was a need for updated research in nephrology social work. She proposed that we conduct a research survey and share our findings in an article and/or by presenting at a conference as part of our supervision.
Hi, I'm Paige. So we realized it was a great opportunity, so we all agreed. Together, we created a 31-question survey that was made up of multiple choice and open-ended questions on Qualtrics. After receiving IRB approval, we emailed the survey to the personal emails of dialysis social workers we knew, and from from the National Kidney Foundation. We also posted the link in social media groups for social workers and used snowball sampling by asking the respondents to share with their colleagues. We began reviewing the qualitative and quantitative responses to look for trends. Then COVID happened. As you know, it was a challenging time due to the stress of the unknown and practical issues such as transportation barriers for our patients and providing empathy to patients who were losing loved ones and were afraid. Thankfully, we were able to start meeting via Zoom.
This is Sarah Chambers. We were continuing to work and in contact with people, so meeting virtually was the safest option for us all. It also saved us the drive from our work or our home to Valdosta, so we were happy to have the extra time to relax and rest. We are now collaborating via video chat with Dr. Downing, who analyzed the data using SPSS. We are discussing what graphs or charts would be appropriate for this study. With the guidance of Dr. Holloman, we are finishing up our article, Dialysis Social Work Barriers to Professional Practice, via Zoom, by sharing screens and contributing as we would in person. We will soon submit our article for publication. This has been a great experience before and during COVID, and a wonderful opportunity to apply the research education we received at VSU in our current profession. COVID has changed the way we work, but it is possible, and additional research from new perspectives is always welcome. Thank you.
I want to thank Beth, Sarah, and Paige for sharing their research that they conducted in an interesting topic during COVID-19, which I'm sure there's a lot of great research going on about COVID-19 and how it's impacting everybody's areas right now. So we're excited to see how your experiences lead to your publications, and we want to hear about your continued success. Reach out to your graduate coordinators, reach out to people from the program, reach out to your ex-professors. We love hearing from you. It's one of the great things about this job. So I will believe you'll see more of this stuff in the future, and you're going to see this echoed throughout, and you're going to see a lot of the same themes throughout the symposium and some great work here. And with that being said, we're going to move on now to the 3-minute thesis. And these students here have provided some great works that they're working on their thesis. Obviously, why it's the 3-minute thesis. Now, we're the set of rules going up here, and this is the first time we've done it, and also we're dealing with everybody else is dealing with obviously what's going on in life out there. So the rules that we followed here were you could only have one static single PowerPoint, no additional media such as sound or props permitted. Presentations were limited to, thus it's the 3-minute thesis, and spoken word, no songs, no poems, etc., etc. And the presentations were judged on comprehension and content of their presentations, as well as the engagement and communication. There were 5 members of the VSU faculty representing everybody across the colleges who worked as judges. So with that being said, enjoy some of this fine scholarship.
Religiosity, emerging adulthood, and the COVID-19 pandemic. My research focuses on 3 primary areas. Number 1, the emerging adulthood life phase, which is defined as ages 18 to 25 years old. Number 2, attitudes toward religion. And 3, the coronavirus pandemic. Emerging adulthood is a time of self-discovery. It's often when the parental scaffolding is removed and individualism manifests for the first time in a big way. And just as we have ties with our family, we have social ties with the religious community. However, during this time, there's a typical decline seen in church attendance and religious activities in general for this particular demographic. And this brings me to my research question. Has the COVID-19 pandemic and its associated physical distancing requirements affected religiosity in emerging adulthood? Will we see an even more precipitous decline,
or a renewal of young people's religious faith and practices? Well, prior research reveals religion and spirituality serve an important role to relieve suffering, to promote a positive health outcome, and to minimize the consequences of social isolation. Well, the consequences of COVID-19 on individual religiosity is examined. And those consequences include challenges to maintain community connectedness in light of federal, state, and local mandates. Shelter in place, wear a mask, and social distance. Well, this put a strain on society, even as to how one might practice religion. With limited or modified mobility, people were challenged in an unprecedented fashion. Although some populations may have chosen to ignore mandates and congregate, preliminary data show religion and spirituality are still relied upon in tough times, and perhaps even more so in catastrophic times, including the COVID-19 pandemic. This does not seem to have negatively impacted young adults' views on religion, and may have actually increased their participation in religious activities through virtual means. In addition, it's been reported that the frequency of prayers actually increased during the coronavirus pandemic. I will be conducting a survey online to VSU students to further explore attitudes toward religion in the wake of the pandemic. And preliminary interviews indicate an increased sense of spirituality for this particular demographic. And this researcher currently concludes that the coping strategies, community connectedness, and social support found in religion and spirituality has actually aided young adults in navigating an already challenging life phase. And yes, even during the coronavirus pandemic. Thank you.
Over the years, the ideology of what the perfect woman should look like or how the perfect woman should be has drastically changed. Most of the time, the image of the perfect woman portrayed in the media is touch-ups, which makes the perfect woman more fictional than reality. Because of these changes and impossible role models, it has been harder for women to be their true self, and it causes them to indulge in unhealthy eating habits. These habits slowly turn into eating disorders that temporarily fill a void to make women feel better about themselves. We see that eating disorders such as anorexia and obesity are caused by many different environmental issues that can start very early in life. The first thing that we are introduced to as a little girl is a Barbie doll. We feel that that Barbie doll is so beautiful because of her physical features. She's skinny, tall, has light bright skin, and long blonde hair. Playing with the same doll every day influences girls to want to be just like their first childhood friend. Another way that eating disorders can start early in life is through sports. This occurs more in boys, but there are some sports where you are encouraged to be thinner or skinny, such as basketball and track. Whereas other sports that encourages boys to put on more weight or bulk up, such as football and wrestling. These stigmas have been normalized and often puts the pressure on kids to look the part. The most important and influential environmental issue that plays a part in eating disorders at a young age is their living situation. Growing up in an unhappy home can impact how the child feels about themselves. A lot of children feel that the problems going on at home are their fault, so they turn to eating or not eating as a solution. Some children feel alone in their household, and eating is the only thing that brings them comfort. These eating habits often become normal for them and continues from childhood to adulthood. Another environmental issue pertaining to eating disorders that is with adulthood is social media. We see so many people on social media that have the perfect life and they have it all figured out, but really, they are only showing us what we want to see. They go through things in life just like everybody else, but society makes us feel like we have to keep up or be ahead of the next person. One environmental issue that I never thought about that plays a role in eating disorders is jobs or a particular career field. Some jobs discriminate against people who are overweight because they feel that they are lazy or won't work as hard, while other jobs discriminate against people who are really skinny because they feel like they look sick or can be a health risk to the company. Both of these are unfair, especially if that person is qualified and passionate about their job. Overall, there are many environmental issues that can start, continue, and end eating disorders. I think the best way to end eating disorders is to find a different way to cope with whatever struggle that you are facing at that time. Always remember, your body is the perfect body. Thank you.
Take a look at the 34 individuals pictured here, 24 males and 10 females. These individuals are the head coaches of the women's volleyball programs that compete in the top 3 conferences at the NCAA Division I level based on RPI rankings. Researchers at the Tucker Center through the University of Minnesota have produced annual report cards rating NCAA Division I institutions based on the percentage of women serving as head coach of a women's team. The report for the 2019-2020 academic year showed that only 42.3% of female teams had a female coach, while over 90% of male teams are coached by men. In 1972, the Title IX bill was passed requiring equal opportunity for the sexes regarding funding and opportunity for participation in athletics. This opened the door for female athletes to compete at the collegiate level. However, this did not correlate to a greater presence of female coaches. Prior to 1972, over 90% of women's teams were coached by women. That percentage drastically decreased following Title IX. As a female coach myself at the collegiate level, I have questioned the cause of this phenomenon and if it is consistent at all levels. In order to address this question, I constructed a unique data set focusing on the NCAA Division II South region, which is comprised of the Gulf South Conference, Sunshine State Conference, and Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. Within these 3 conferences, there are 40 institutions with a cumulative 533 distinct athletic teams. A coaching dyad relating the sex of the coach and the sex of the team served as the independent variable and was analyzed with dependent variables of conference, school enrollment, whether the coach was the coach of a team or individual sport, if the school was public or private, the sex of the athletic director, and if the school rostered a football team. These variables were selected based on the existing research that suggested each were contributing factors to whether a team was more or less likely to have a female coach. The data was also analyzed with the coaching dyad serving as the independent variables, while the team's in-conference winning percentage and national tournament performance were dependent variables used as measures of success to address previous qualitative research that suggested female coaches were not as successful as male coaches. However, preliminary results showed no significant relationship between the sex of the coach and the success of the team. This particular data set also showed that female athletic directors were less likely to hire a woman as a head coach, and the teams they oversaw were less successful than those of their male counterparts. This finding is inconsistent with prior research that expressed homologous tendencies within hiring practices in collegiate athletics. My hope is that this study will shed light on the gender disparities within collegiate coaching at all levels, not just Division I. Thank you.
Key issue in Spain is Catalan separatism, a movement containing elements of grassroots support and social engineering, and wide-ranging support among diverse segments of society. The current conflict starts in 2003, when the central government promised to support reform of the Catalan Statute of Autonomy. In 2005, the Catalan Parliament passed such a reform, which was then challenged by Madrid, removing essential clauses and making it effectively meaningless. The statute was overturned in 2010, sparking protests under the slogan, "We are a nation, we decide." In 2012, a protest demanded secession, and pro-secessionist parties gained a majority in the subsequent elections. A non-binding referendum on independence was held in 2014, with 81% in favor. A binding referendum was then held on October 1st, 2017, despite opposition from Madrid. It passed by 92%, and independence was declared. In retaliation, Madrid dismissed the Catalan parliament and imposed direct rule. In 2019, civil society leaders and 9 Catalan separatist officials were found guilty of sedition. Since then, many public demonstrations have been held, demanding these officials be released from prison. Among the population, including non-Catalan Spanish speakers, support for independence has a strong correlation with Catalan identity, with nearly half the population in favor. Support is low among those who identify solely as Spanish, but increases significantly among dual identity citizens, and is highest at 81% among those who identify solely as Catalan. Socioeconomically, support is substantial among all groups, but higher among the more affluent. Education level trends in the same direction, with increased support corresponding with higher levels of education. Politically, there is strong support among the left, 60%, with moderate support among centrists and low support on the right. After Franco's death under the Democratic Constitution of 1978, the government has fostered cultural identity and language through education and media. A Reform Act passed in 1983, making teaching in Catalan compulsory in public education. A study comparing those educated before and after the reform showed each additional year of schooling under the reform increased the likelihood of a dual identity and decreased the likelihood of a fully Spanish identity for immigrant children. Regarding the media, the Catalan radio and television network has been key to fostering culture and language. Census data from the time shows a positive correlation with Catalan language ability in television, with nearly a 20% reported increase in language ability a decade after the creation of the network. Independence has both economic and identitarian grounds. Madrid controls Catalan tax revenue, and separatists feel shorted by this fiscal relationship, as they contribute 19% of the GDP but get back 13%. The issue gained prominence after the 2008 economic crisis and the subsequent austerity measures. Regarding identity, separatists feel Catalonia would be better able to protect their culture and language with an independent state free of interference. Conversely, Madrid wishes to preserve national unity and state sovereignty against what could spark independence demands in other regions, chiefly the Basque Country.
Mental health in law enforcement is typically examined in the context of law enforcement encounters with the mental health community, and remarkably little attention is given critically to the landscape of actual mental health of law enforcement professionals. There is a lot of literature expressing and advising on the treatment of mental health for police. However, one thing that is remarkably lacking in the body of research I have encountered is a sociocultural examination of these phenomena. Some of the issues in the literature of this topic is that it tends to take the perspective of an outsider with a lack of understanding the large potentials and response biases in officers when discussing their mental health. Potential sources of these biased responses include the barriers natural to Semmel's professional stranger, possible stigmatization of failing to manage impressions, and the notion of being removed from duty. My research, thus, is exploratory in nature to build a framework for this necessary understanding and perform a reconnaissance of the landscape of mental health in the field of law enforcement. In this goal, I am building upon preliminary research, including my interviews with officers, as well as existing data sets to draw out potential analogies in the realm of law enforcement to inform future research. Initial findings show that mental health has the potential of being used as a disciplinary bludgeon. This has been seen in the use of fitness for duty evaluations in the context of strict hierarchical command structures as sanctions, as found in the research of Marilyn Price, as well as simply the perception of officers subject to possible destruction of their employment potential and loss of status in relatively small social networks. It is not necessarily the intention of the action, as in the case of dismissing an officer for their mental health to limit dangers and liability, that must be understood, but the entirety of the calculus of experience in the officers as well. Analysis of data sets thus far have revealed a potential for individuals armed in employment to have an elevated likelihood to have committed yet justify some forms of deviant behavior. This does not necessarily indicate a lack of integrity, but instead serves to humanize this community. Past research shows that psychology as a discipline has assisted in the vetting of officers for qualities of mental resilience. However, are the officers entering the field truly more resilient than those that are not? Or can they simply learn the script and successfully navigate the bureaucracy of entry? And if officers truly are to be more resilient, should this trait serve as an excuse for potential abuse in neglecting the sociological concerns of their continued welfare?
Hi, my name is Miracle Jackson, and today I want to talk to you about ceilings. Have you ever heard of the glass ceiling? You know, the sum of invisible and artificial barriers that prevents women from entering senior executive positions? While the glass ceiling is meant to highlight the disadvantages of all women, it does not quite cover the difference of struggle for women of color, particularly Black women. Often, I find myself working 10 times as hard to accomplish my career goals. I know that Black women have been historically known to be oppressed, objectified, underrepresented, underpaid, and undervalued. I encounter these challenges every day. The concrete ceiling plays a role in this. Today, I will define the concrete ceiling, its importance, and solutions to combat it. You see, the difference between glass and concrete is quite obvious, right? Glass can be shattered, but concrete is a bit more permanent. Thus, the concrete ceiling is a barrier that prevents women of color from ascending into the highest levels of leadership due to negative stereotypes and prejudices, exclusion from informal networks, and race, cultural, and gender differences. Lack of diversity in senior management positions is a major human resource issue. For decades, there has been open racial and gender bias and discrimination in the workplace, especially against marginalized groups. This is so evident that Congress passed the Crown Act to prevent racial bias based off of hair textures or styles known in non-white cultures. More legislative policies are needed, though. Catalyst 2020 highlights in the US, women made up nearly 40% of managers in 2019. But did you know that white women represent 32.3% of these management positions, while women of color represent less than 5%? So what can we do about this? 4 solutions. 1. Acknowledge unconscious biases and challenge stereotypes and microaggressions. 2. Enforce accountability through not just affirmative action, but legislative action. 3. Invite all women into informal networks and events. 4. Overcome structural barriers by implementing time, assistance, and childcare-based programs. Why? Well, there is compelling evidence that advancing women into senior executive positions can lead to high financial and organizational performance while improving employee satisfaction and reducing turnover rates. You know, my mother always told me that I have to work 10 times as hard because I'm a Black woman. And I told her that this is bigger than me. If everyone worked even just a little bit with bringing awareness to the concrete ceiling and implementing these solutions, then we can make the workplace a more efficient and productive space. Thank you.
When you hear the terms childless and child-free, what do they mean to you? For many, these terms could be used interchangeably, but for those who are part of the child-free movement, these terms mean something very different. When using the terms childless, it implies that a person is unable to have children. This could be because of lack of money and resources. This could be because of lack of a partner, or for most people, it's due to infertility because they're simply unable to have children. Child-free, however, is a voluntary action. Someone who's actively deciding not to have children. This could be for personal reasons or for environmental. When hearing the terms childless and child-free, these terms often evoke serious emotion from people, especially when they're religious. These terms are often seen negatively. Because of this, people who are childless and child-free are often seen differently compared to those who have children. My research question is, how do individuals develop and disclose child-free identities? I want to know, how do these individuals share their child-free decisions with their family? And I also want to know, how do they find support in community? I use qualitative coding analysis of Reddit forums and several key search terms to explore how individuals develop and share their child-free identity. Reddit is a virtual place where people can get together and discuss specific topics in depth and detail. Often these topics are topics of interest, and a small community of users can get together and share their own thoughts and related media. I put Reddit responses, limiting them to 2 lines and classifying them according to emerging themes. For example, I classify responses that use child-free in positive or negative terms. So one user wrote, "Child-free couples are sinners," to which members of the child-free subreddit would classify this response as a bingo, which implies that someone has responded in a non-supportive nature. A bingo is a cliche phrase that is said to convince someone that their decision is wrong. Common bingos are, you'll change your mind when you're older. You're too young to make this decision. And who will take care of you when you're old? These responses allow the child-free communities to come together and find support within each other, leaving people to give advice and comebacks for future bingos. This research makes several key contributions. It demonstrates that the use of Reddit forums as a new rich data source. It contributes to our understanding of individuals in communities not in physical connection, but virtually. It shows how groups from all around the world can construct identities and support each other. Thank you.
For many years now, the outsourcing of human care has become a normalized occurrence in our society. Sociologist Ariel Hochschild described this in her 2012 book, The Outsourced Self. One area that has been outsourced in our industrialized society is the care of children without parents or other guardians. In the 1950s to the 1960s, the United States transitioned from an institutionalized orphanage system to a foster care and home placement system as the ideal for children without parents or other guardians. The reason for this was the preservation of the family and the home. However, today more critics wonder if this system is really better for the nation's most vulnerable children. Children in homes need less oversight, more stable homes, and a traditional family dynamic. However, articles in the media show that abuses in the foster care system come from neglectful foster parents that causes outright sexual or physical abuse that goes unchecked for years, affecting multiple children placed in the home. Thus, bringing us back to the main question, is the foster care system really the best? This research may sound redundant to some, but it's not, in the sense of showcasing and analyzing the inner workings of the two systems, the pros and cons of each system from the point of view of the bystanders, the children involved in the system, the workers in the medical and social fields, as well as the societies. I plan to analyze the effects of the American public foster care system and Japanese public orphanages through these viewpoints, using secondary public available data. Having recently spent time in Japan, I believe these two countries have enough similarities, both being wealthy and industrialized, that they make ideal comparative cases. In addition, they have very different care structures. While the American structure focuses on placing children with a foster family, Japan uses an orphanage system. Japan, being a historically known country that places a great deal of emphasis on the family by having multiple generations living together. However, over the years, that has since changed. Now, we all know the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. That village has expanded from just our local communities to state governments to societies as a whole. We, as villagers, need to enrich our minds of the details and effects these systems have to better create and obtain an effective way of nurturing and protecting our children in need. Thank you.
Media outlets and research reports state that COVID-19 is not too much of a threat or an issue to college students. Even though there has been rare cases involving young college students, they are mostly spared when it comes to being hospitalized. I am here today to convince you, as well as to present to you, that these reports are very incorrect. COVID-19 is a serious threat to college students' mental health. It has been reported that there has been dramatic decline regarding the mental health of college students. 1 in 4 Americans between the ages of 18 and 24 have reported thoughts of suicide, increase in anxiety, increase in depression, and high levels of overall emotional distress. Not only have college students moved away from their homes in order to start lives as adults, but when new COVID-19 protocols and regulations happening such as social and physical distancing, in order to maintain our overall safety, this has caused an increase in overall isolation that has further damaged the well-being of college students. My research question regards whether or not college students' mental health has been affected by the global pandemic happening in our society currently. Weak ties are increasing between college students by the overall increase in actual physical distancing by maintaining a distance of 6 feet apart from their family members, professors, and their friends in classes. I am conducting a survey in order to broadcast the feelings of college students during this challenging time in order to bring attention to not only VSU leaders, but to also create new methods of reassurance and to increase the positivity and well-being of mental health in regards to college students. Statistics show that there is an increase in mental health facilities being incorporated into college systems all over the U.S. They promote virtual therapy sessions in order for their students to feel as if they have reached a point where they need help from adults that can create positivity in their lives. Even though this method has seemed to increase in regards to mental health awareness, this is still a crucial issue in our society that must be addressed in order for college students to prosper and to be reassured that not only their physical health matters, but their well-being is important and their mental health matters as well. Thank you.
My name is James Hagler, and I'm a student in the Doctor of Public Administration program here at Valdosta State. My dissertation is entitled A Success Story, an exploration of the consolidation efforts in the University System of Georgia. In November of 2011, the USG Board of Regents passed the 6 principles of consolidation by which all consolidations would be guided in determining which institutions would be involved. From 2013 to 2018, the USG BOR used these principles in the efforts to consolidate 18 institutions into 9. Through this process, the BOR has looked to improve accessibility to education based on Principle 2, while also removing duplication of programs for optimizing instruction based on Principle 3. Additionally, the BOR used economies of scale and scope for Principle 4, along with streamlining of administrative service for Principle 6 to help find savings in the budget. In the first part of this 2-part study, the data shows the average percentage change from consolidation year to the first year after consolidation, as well as the pre-consolidation average as compared to the post-consolidation average. In the areas of budget, we see the first year after consolidation showed a savings, but in the overall time period post-consolidation, the averages of the 9 institutions showed a 12% increase after consolidation. The largest area of increase shows to be in personal services, while the smallest increase came in operating expenses. As for the students, the 7.41% drop was found in the first year of enrollment after consolidation, an average of 9.27% combined. While enrollment did drop, retention was actually higher at these institutions in the 1-year measure of first-time freshman cohorts, showing a positive correlation between retention and consolidation. Tuition and fees showed a 2.5% increase in the cost of students in the first year after consolidation, but a 19% increase in comparison of pre to post consolidation data at newly consolidated institutions. The second part of the study surveyed consolidation committee members at 3 institutions. Question asked about issues dealt with, leadership changes, charges received, and views of success to the consolidation committees. The chart on the right shows 14 of the 19 responses felt the consolidation was successful, with 5 feeling it was unsuccessful. Some of the issues reported included name changes, trust between campuses, and bringing together campuses with different cultures into one institution. The primary findings from this study show the economies of scale were not truly recognized, as costs are higher now across the 9 institutions prior to consolidation. Second, enrollment took a hit in the consolidations and has not recovered. However, retention has benefited in the first year freshmen on average. This could be in part to transfers related to schools that are now consolidated, such as Georgia Perimeter to Georgia State. Just like the increased budget, tuition and fees have increased across the institution. Part 2 of the study provides information which can be used in future consolidations and the BOR to find common issues early in the process. Thank you for your time, and I hope you take a look at the final publication at the end of the year.
Hi, my name is Dr. Jerry Pringle, and I conducted my study on math anxiety and the instructional triangle. As learning is an endeavor of connections and relationships, I utilize the instructional triangle to depict the relationships between the teacher and the content, the teacher and the students, students and other students, and the students and the content. I further expanded on the instructional triangle by utilizing the cognitive consistency theory, in that it showcases 8 additional instructional triangles that any student can have in any given course. And I find that very fascinating because every student will have an instructional triangle wherein they are connected or disconnected to their teachers, peers, and or content. Math anxiety impacts the completion of necessary math courses needed to graduate. 80% of 2-year students and 25% of 4-year students struggle with moderate to high math anxiety, while 67% of 2-year students and 44% of 4-year students taking remedial math courses are considered non-completers, meaning that they failed to graduate and they're no longer enrolled. If math anxiety is impacting math performance, then math instruction should be examined for mitigating factors. Thus, I conducted a study of 6 educators in which I studied their strategies and their practices. Please note that their strategies include the teacher-to-content relationship, while their practices include the teacher-to-student relationships. I created profiles for each instructor in which they had 2 triangles, one of their connection experience to mathematics and one of their disconnection or anxiety-related experience to mathematics. Their profiles allowed me to expand upon the instructional triangle and present a 3D model of the instructional triangle known as the perspective-taking pyramid, in which educators can connect to both their connection and disconnection experiences while creating interventions that speak to students' math anxiety. The instructional triangle was very good at depicting a lot of relationships. However, it failed to depict the relationships that educators have with themselves and that students have with themselves. Thus, if educators are consistently creating empathetic practices that allow them to make interventions, then their classrooms become centers for connection. I really appreciate you listening to my presentation today. Have a good day.
All right. Those were awesome. It's always exciting to see a wide variety of research from across the campus that gets us out of our silos. And I would recommend, if you've not, if these people haven't defended their thesis or dissertation already, please go out and support these people. It's nice to have an audience. So thank you again for the kind comments and the support that's been going on in the chat there. But I would recommend anybody to go watch and support anybody within your department, your program, while they do their thesis, because it's a learning experience, not only as you do it, but also as a participant if that's next up on your agenda there. But before we get to the poster presentations, before we get that, I've got another surprise for you. We got another great musical performance by Catherine Yara and Caitlin Moore on piano. They're performing Ancestrio by German Dario Perez. So let's enjoy that, and then we're going to jump into the poster session. I thought we were going to jump in the poster presentation, so we're still on. Here we go.
I'm sorry, there's a tech glitch on my side. I'll load it up in just a second.
While that's going on, I'll see some of the. There's somebody's video. Hey, what's up? How are you doing there, sir?
Doing good, Dave. How about yourself?
I'm living the dream, man. I'm living the dream. So everybody out there, I feel like this is like a call-in radio show now. We should be taking callers, going along here and enjoying this. But thank you for being patient. even with technology, we do have a little bit of glitches going on. So.
Well, I got a question. Am I in the right room?
We have not done the breakout. What room you think are you supposed to be in, Chris?
Okay, you haven't done the breakout yet. Okay, so I'm thinking
No,
I'm good.
we've got a musical performance and then we're doing the breakout.
Oh, sorry, jumping in.
No worries, man. It's always good to hear from you.
Looking sharp today.
Thank you. Thank you. I try to look professional when I can. All right, I guess we give it a virtual snaps. I don't know how they do it right there, or an applause or an emoji of some sort, whatever you all like to do. Let's show a little appreciation. That's awesome and that's beautiful. I agree with that comment, Ann up there and everybody. So now we're going to move on to the poster presentation section here, and we're going to do this in 2 sections. And I'm going to address some questions that have been going on in the chat room right there. So don't worry, we'll take care of everybody. And so as we move on to that, there's going to be 4 different breakout groups, and then half of the presenters will be in the first 30-minute segment, the other half will be in the other 30-minute segment. Audience members, not audience. Audience members, you're randomly going to be selected into each rooms. If that is not the correct room or the person you want to see, don't worry. You can get out of that. You're going to see a little arrow, and you're going to see different breakout rooms, and you can jump out of the other rooms. If you're having technical difficulties or any questions, Danielle will be more than happy to assist in any of that. Also, once we get the rooms going, there's going to be a little bit of delay. It's going to kind of be like a little bit of a little slow or awkwardness. Don't worry, it'll have, it's just the transition there. So during these poster presentations, please ask questions by typing your questions in the chat. A moderator will monitor the chat and provide questions to the student researchers. Poster presentations are not formal presentations by student researchers. These are opportunity to ask questions and see what the research is all about. So what's going on? How can us lay people understand all these great ideas that are being presented out there? So if you have a question, it's a great place to ask and engage these things. As someone who's presented these type of things when I was in grad school, we love questions. We want to talk about our research because we're so excited about it, and we're excited that you're here to help support that. So that being said, we're going to go to the breakout rooms right here, and we're going to see this is the first breakout session. And again, if you're not put in the right room, don't panic. We can get you to the right one. You're going to be able to see. If not, our tech help, Danielle, is going to be able to put you in the right place. So enjoy these great young scholars and their great young work there, and I will see you in the intermission. While we set up the second session, please enjoy our final musical performance this afternoon by Catherine Yara and Ethan Parker on piano, and they're going to be performing Baifu by Simone Sato. So with that being said, enjoy this. We're going to put the sessions together, and if you're in the wrong session, just come back to the main room, and we will put you to where you need to be. So thank you. I'm making noises, sorry. As we're getting to this. All right, as we're getting ready for the breakout session number 2, want to thank for that performance right there. So we appreciate it very much so on that. So Catherine and Ethan, thank you, and the ladies from the dance. So it's always great to see collaborations between programs and what they're doing. So we're going to randomly assign you for the sessions here. If you're not in the right session, you can just come back to the main room and we will put you in the correct session here. And if you have any questions or comments or concerns, let us know. And one thing you can do to truly help us out is I will be posting up in the group chat a link to the survey. And that lets us know what are things we can do better. And hopefully next year this will be face-to-face and we won't be running into these problems. Or if you have suggestions on things how we can handle this, if it's still going to be in a virtual situation, love to hear about that because we can't make improvements if we don't hear from your feedback. So thank you very much and enjoy these second sessions. All right, Dr. DeCruz, are you ready to make announcements of the winners?
Absolutely. I know we're past 6 o'clock and we'll make this as quick as we can. I do have some preliminary comments to make though, if you don't mind. I want to say really congratulations to all of our participants. This afternoon has been a robust exchange of ideas in a number of disciplines, which I would say is a testament to the level of scholarship that's been occurring across campus over the course of the whole year. This year does mark some of our firsts, one of which is hosting the symposium in a virtual format. It took a team of faculty and staff to make it possible, and without them, we could not have had such a successful event. And so to all of you, thank you. There are so many names. It's hard to list them all here, but we had a subcommittee that was meeting. We've had other people pulled from across campus to make this happen, but thank you, David, for emceeing the event. Danielle Costello, you have been truly a godsend. Ernest, you have pulled so much of this together. So many people have just been really incredible here. So thank you. Another first is our 3MT competition, our 3-minute thesis competition. This is a competition that's held across the USG. And this is our first time hosting that and having it here. And so I look forward to years to come where we have even more in terms of competition there. But this being our first year with the 3M competition, we wanted to encourage everyone to participate. And so we are so glad that we had 11 who did. So thank you to all of you who engaged in the first year of the 3MT. So now I will announce the students who scored in the top 3 of the 3MT competition, as well as the poster presentations. We will present plaques to the GA of the year, the first place recipient of the 3MT competition, and the top 3 students of the poster presentations in person at a later date in order to get their photos. We want to be able to document that for posterity purposes. We'll reach out to all of you after today to set that date up and recognize you in person as well. Before I announce those winners, I do want to highlight some statistics for you. For example, in addition to the 20 graduate assistants who were recognized earlier in the symposium, there were 58 students who participated in today's research symposium. 4 presented musical performances, 11 students competed in the 3-minute thesis, and 43 students participated in the poster sessions. That's impressive. We're so grateful for all of you. We're so glad to have shared in your day of scholarship. So thank you to all of you. And with that, let's recognize our 3MT winners. Our second runner-up is Elizabeth Rivera. Congratulations. Elizabeth is a master's student in sociology. The title of her presentation is Religion, Familial Expectations for Childbearing and the Child-Free Movement, How Individuals Negotiate Identity on Reddit. And her faculty mentor is Dr. Ann Price. Congratulations, Elizabeth. Well done. Our first runner-up in the 3MT competition is Catherine Sizemore. She's also a master's student in sociology, and the title of her presentation is Gender Inequalities Within Collegiate Coaching. Her faculty mentor is Dr. Ellis Logan. Congratulations, Catherine. Well done. And in first place in the 3MT thesis competition, it is Miracle Jackson. She's the master's student in public administration. The title of her presentation is The Glass versus Concrete Ceiling, and her faculty mentor is Dr. Blair Thomas. Congratulations, Blair. And Miracle, my goodness. It was a very dynamic presentation. Thank you so much. Well done. Transitioning to our poster presentations. The second runner-up is Thibault Denave. Thibault is a master's student in sociology. The title of his poster is The Aftermath of Combat Exposure and Death of Veterans' Health. Thibault's faculty mentor is Dr. Ellis Logan. Congratulations, Thibault. Very well done. Our first runner-up in the poster presentations is Elizabeth Bingham. Elizabeth, too, is a master's student in sociology. Her poster is titled Decriminalization of Marijuana and the Societal Effects. And her faculty mentor, again, Dr. Ellis Logan. Congratulations, Elizabeth. Job well done. And in first place in the poster competition, it goes to Kayla Sanders. Kayla is a master's student in the social work program. The title of her poster is Talk Therapy for Reducing Symptoms of Compassion Fatigue, Secondary Traumatic Stress and Burnout, and a social worker at Division of Family and Children's Services. Kayla's faculty mentor is Dr. Hene Cano. Congratulations, Kayla. Congratulations to all of our winners. So impressive. We've learned so much from you all and appreciate all the work you're doing. Well done. Dr. Nelson, back to you.
I want to thank everybody for all the efforts, your patience, everything they went through. If you could take time again, take the survey, let us know. And also, you know, when not so rushed and at a more leisure time, make sure you check out the links that were provided by Danielle in the chat section. Other than that, again, thank you for all your help and support, students and also faculty for helping make this happen as well. And thank you for the graduate school for putting this on and showcasing such great work right there. So till next year, I hope we get to do this and see each other in person. So thank you. Have a safe weekend. And hopefully I'll see you somewhere on campus here within the next year.